to the first and only question that we have. And then, awesome, I see Kyle just chatted something else. So this question is from Alex Vargas, Drew, and he's asked, him and his friend are developing a web app. They're almost finished with it. They've got some concerns about speed performance. And then I guess the second question is they'd like to know how to integrate PayPal throughout APIs. So we can just talk generally about speed first. Alex, if you're on the call, can you let me know where your region is located or where y'all are located?
Oh, yeah. Hi with everyone. I am from Peru. Me and one friend are developing an app, and we are almost finished. But the problem is that it's a little slow when I load the dashboard page, and we are a little concerned about it.
Okay. Where do you have the region currently located, and would you be able to show us? We might be able to give you some suggestions for optimizing something. Are you available to share your screen and share your project with us? Or do you have the URL we can look at?
Yeah, my partner is doing the meeting, and
Okay.
he will be able to show the project.
Okay, awesome.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ruben, and Alex is my friend. And basically, I am the front-end developer, and Alex is the backend. And when can I show my?
Yeah, you should be able to. There should be a share screen link at the bottom of that toolbar on Zoom.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
Sometimes you'll have like permissions on your computer you have to accept, and then you have to like jump out of or end the meeting and join back. So we'll see.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, our app is basically a web app that consists to an application with OpenAI actions, and when we deploy the preview or the dashboard page, it's a little bit slower. For example, when I click in this tool, copywriting, it takes a little seconds, and we don't know how to solve that.
Okay. Drew, what do you want to check first? I was thinking, I was curious about where they were hosting the project, but it looks like if they're in Peru, that should be the United States, right? Yeah, that's the closest.
Yeah, I mean, and also that it matters where you are and where your data is hosted. Because if you're in Europe or your data's in Europe, it'll be fast. So maybe actually, like, let me just explain that real quick, and then I'll explain some other possibilities. But basically, one thing is there's a speed issue that you really can't fix, which is if you have your data hosted, your project hosted in like the US, and people from the other side of the world are accessing it, it's going to be a little slower to get that data. And eventually that'll get fixed. But right now it's sort of a limit where you have like that one, your data has to be in one place. Everything else about your project, like your images and other things, are all spread out and global. It's just there's like a data slowness. So that's one thing. I actually don't think that's what's happening here. So the whole other side of slowness, what it comes down to is like whatever, you can build something that's really fast or really slow in Builder, and we don't really restrict you either way. So we can try to look at a few kind of like common issues that slow things down. And the first one that I would sort of think when I was seeing that page load is there's probably too many requests on that page somehow. And it might not be intentional. Like maybe you're doing something and you're getting values for different things on the page. And because of the way it's set up, Builder's making like 5 or 6 network requests, like calls to get that data. Where you can like shorten that to 1, it'll be like instant. Stuff like that is probably where I'd look. But the way to test that specific one will be if you can open the web inspector right now.
Oh, okay.
And then we'll watch the network tab, and you can click around a little bit.
Network.
Yeah, network. And then, yeah, just keep it open there. And then as you click the different options on the left, we'll see network requests come in.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, you might have to, if it works. Okay, there you go. So yeah, so we can see these things. Like I already see that WCJM there's one that gets repeated like 5 or 6 times in there. So that's an example of something where you could, like, because of the way Builder's built, you can make that one call, and instead of making 5 or 6 of those network requests or more, if there's more, we can get it done in one shot. So that'll be something probably. Other than that, I mean, I don't know. Which one was
that's
that
a good
really?
place to start, Drew, like just one thing, because the thing with speed, guys, is it, like Drew said, it can be a lot of things, like depending on how you build it. So I think kind of like what we did with laser, it's like, hey, you come to office hours, let's look at one page, let's look at what's happening on that and see if we can help you optimize that. And then you can take those concepts and go and apply them and kind of optimize some of the different areas. So let's see if we can maybe find a particular spot they might be able to repeat.
Okay, well, I have a question. When my friend and I wrote the documentation, we found something like pre-caching. And I don't know if this helps for the page load, because we integrate in these actions page load.
Okay.
And set variables. Alex, did you hear that, or can you explain?
Yes. Yes, well, the pre-caching, and we are setting the databases. We work with categories, herramientas, labels, and all these we are setting into a variable, like the documentation said.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's
right.
correct. Actually, that's a really good practice. I'm not sure. So like something isn't getting cached correctly. Like could even be a builder bug, or it could be just like a little nuance in the setup. But there was a collection that we saw at least that wasn't getting cached. But this is basically what I was gonna say to do first is set these up. So it's great that you already have them set up. But sometimes say you pre-cache with like a specific filter, or sometimes even like without a filter, and then later you make a call with a filter, or it's like a little difference. Every once in a while, a builder gets tripped up in a scenario like that. So it could be something like that's happening too. And there's ways to fix it, but it's essentially a bug, but there's ways that you can just work around it quick. So it definitely could be that. The other thing is, maybe the specific call I saw wasn't pre-cached and a bunch of other ones are, like maybe you missed that one.
Why
So
don't we
I
just
would
look
say
at one
we should
example?
yeah, let's just pick a page that's particularly slow or one you want to fix, and then we'll just look at that one and go action by action and see if we can find anything.
Oh, okay. Well, the main concerns is when the first page load. For example, when I refresh the old page, it's a little bit slower in the categories and the tools.
Yep.
It takes like 4 or 5 seconds to load.
Yep. And that can go away for sure, because I just saw in the network request, it's doing calls of the same 3 collections, it looks like, or maybe 2 in there, over and over and over for a little while. So all of that back and forth, like that's literal time of like traveling back and forth, across wires, that can all be eliminated. So, and it's up to you. If you want to tackle that one first, we can look at it, and you'll kind of understand what the concept, how to apply it to everything else then, I think.
So yeah, take us in the studio into this page. And what do you want to look at first, Drew, on that page? Just the list of flows or page load, or?
Yeah, probably the page load flow. Which I don't know. I don't remember now which page you just clicked. It was like that main dashboard page and loading that left side menu basically. Okay,
Yeah,
so so let's go into page load on here then.
Okay, page loads.
Pre-caching. Okay, and yeah, click that pre-caching flow and let's see what we're getting. So this is what we were just looking at. So I want to figure out which collections, when we looked at the network requests and it's like a crazy string of letters and numbers and I see them repeating, those letters and numbers are the collection ID, like the data collection ID. So actually, if you could switch back to that preview and we could pick one. So like if you scroll down a little on the right, it's already in there in this
In the debugger.
in the debugger part. It should already be in there, this list, but you have to scroll a little bit. on that
I
list.
saw, yeah, I saw one.
Keep going a little bit more. Yeah, okay, right here, right here.
The
So see,
7R.
like in here, there's like a WCJ, there's a 5VY, a CDD, but you can see there's a 7R3 that's repeating a lot and an A5A that's repeating a lot. So
Mhm.
we can start one of those. So let's look for that.
Can you copy that?
7R3.
Yeah, can you, I think, can you somehow copy that? Or can you see it from in here, Drew?
You can also just like remember 7R3 because the way you have to search for it is sort of weird. So if we just have to look and be like, okay, 7R3 and remember that. Now let's go back to the data collection area and look for the 7R3 collection.
So
So,
back
yeah,
into
in the
studio
studio.
and, mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, so go
So,
to
yeah.
the big data collections list, main menu, data collections. All right, and
And-
now we're gonna find what.
Yes,
that's
you can try to
categories.
search for it. I don't think it's going to come up though. I don't know if you know or not, Cora, but if you in the tops, yeah, search bar, if you search for 7R3, just see if in case it might come up. If not, I'll tell you what we're gonna do.
No.
No.
So basically we have to pick a collection and go into it and then check the ID. So if you click on any of these collections for right now,
Okay. Herramientas.
and then you
Alex-
look at the bottom right, see where it says
Alex,
filter
which
ID?
collection is the tools?
What's that?
Oh,
We have to averiguar which is the collection with the 7RB, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I was just gonna check each one and check against that number
Yes.
and look for
Yeah,
that
yes.
703.
okay. This is not the collection, right?
Right, not this one.
Okay. Okay. And
Kind of a weird
category-
way to do it. I apologize, but this is the fastest way actually. So yeah, not that one.
not okay. Labels. Not no. Okay. Projects. No.
No, but this is, I think, one of the other ones, Drew.
E4. I
Mm-hmm.
can't remember now because I was just looking at all
No.
of them. Like I feel like some of those other ones were too. It's gonna be one of these, or if not, then something really weird.
Categories.
No, weird.
No.
Yeah, I mean, it could be users or, we've got a few in here we can try.
Yeah. There's still more to check.
Okay. Proyectos prueba.
No.
No. Oh. Planes.
It's crazy. We'll have it
Oh.
so you can search the ID when this is updated. Yeah, check users. It could be users. They have the same type of thing. No, A5A.
No.
Did we check
Records.
them all?
I think.
You can try record association. Let's look.
Record association. No.
I think it would be users or categories
Categories. Okay.
or
Categories.
users.
No. Categories.
No, maybe users.
Users.
Looked.
I wonder if it's user and current user because I think the other one actually might have been the A5A, right? Those, so maybe it's like the.
Can we look at the other tab real quick?
Oh, I could actually find out. I can tell you actually. Yeah, if you look at the other tab, we can click on one of those requests and just see if we can tell what it is. So if you go to the preview.
In the preview.
In the
Mhm.
debug.
And then if you look on the right, yeah, just click on one of those 7R3s. Yep. And then on the right side, there's like a new little headings. There's one for preview. If you click preview. Yep. And then please authenticate. Okay.
Oh.
So basically, yeah, it's like that's like I don't know exactly what it's doing, but it's coming back, please authenticate repeatedly. So that's what all those 7R3s are. A records get or something. It could be current user, I think. See that if you go a little bit down from 7R3, there's an A5A. Click on that A5A. I think that was users. But you just had your mouse over it for a second. Yeah, A5A. So I bet the one we're looking at is current user and users, and it's something around that maybe. But I'm not sure. And that could in this case be like you're supposed to be signed in, but you're not signed in maybe when you're viewing this.
I think we are not signing well. So where I sign.
Like maybe there's a page that's being called when
Like
you
each
load the
row page is
dashboard
checking
that
authentication or
requires-
something.
Gotcha.
Something like, yeah.
Okay.
Or maybe it just can't cache the current user because it's not authenticated, so it keeps calling over and over. It could be a lot of things, I guess. Did that just not work? Oh,
So we'll want to,
Okay.
you want to open up debug again and see?
yeah, you'll have to like
Net-
open this first and then refresh. And we'll go to the network tab. I'll just hit refresh from here actually, because it looks like there's a couple repeated user calls in there, but I don't know what we missed.
Well, we're logged in now, so it may not be doing those requests anymore. Can you refresh, Ruben, and we can see the whole page? Let's stick to refreshing the whole page because we're just looking at the dashboard, not the individual pages. Could you refresh the dashboard? Is it in the middle?
I was
okay.
watching, no, I didn't see any of those 7.3Rs, so maybe it's that. It's like just that one in the beginning, which is what we'd expect.
7.3R. Okay.
Yeah, so that's probably current user, and that's probably taken care of, I think now, but there's still a lot of user requests in there. I'm not sure why. Like something like user should be automatically cached by builder.
7R3.
Yep,
This-
but that's good actually. So like, you need that call in there one time. But the way Builder works is if you make that call one time and Builder has the data, even if you tell it in your studio to call to it again, Builder won't actually make the network request because it's smart enough to know it already has the data. So when this issue is fixed, whenever you see those repeated calls, when it's fixed, you'll see just one call, and that's how you know you're good to go. So I think in that case, that got fixed by signing in. So
Okay.
somewhere there's like something though that's repeating a bunch of it's trying to get user info, and it's probably like calling for current user info and it's running when they're not signed in. That's going to be the heart of that issue. It's a little hard to tell exactly, but that's where that one's going.
So guys, make a note because this will be stuff that you'll probably have to go look at. So one is try and go figure out if on any of the pages that you're calling when you're loading this dashboard, anything that's loading, if you're asking for any of the current user info. And then Drew, do you have any recommendations when they?
Yeah,
go
I mean,
for that?
in general for that, I think one thing is like there's a flow that is like a condition if a user is authenticated. And so if the issue is that you're binding current user info, but they're not signed in, that just means you might have to run a flow first that says condition, is the user authenticated? If so, bind whatever that field is for the current user. If not, either show different info or sometimes even redirect. I don't know if it's a dashboard and they're supposed to always be signed in, then there's a thing on the URL route where an unauthenticated page, you can send them to a sign-in page if they're not signed in. Then you would never run into this situation because the only way they'd see this page is if they're already signed in.
Which is probably correct for your app,
Yeah,
right,
sounds
guys?
correct
They're
for a
gonna need to
dashboard.
sign in before they can see this stuff.
Oh, okay. Alex, do you have a question?
Yeah, we will replay this office hour and we will implement all the recommendations. Yes, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay, so do you want to pick another one, Drew, that we might be seeing again and we can check it out?
I mean, there's the user one is in there for sure. And there's one I can see on the screen right now that's LHA that's doubled. So it's going to be any of these. And like, it's up to, if you guys want to pick one too, it's up to you. But really what we can do is we have to just kind of guess like what what page or pages are going to be making a request to users. So we can do that now if you want. We can just try to go hunt it down and figure out why it keeps
Specifically the
repeating.
user requests that are happening.
The A5A is the one I see most repeated, and that's the users table.
A5A, this
Yeah,
one.
that one.
No.
And like if see how it's selected on the right there, if you drop that down where it says OBJ, if you go over and it's like a little arrow and it says OBJ on the right, yeah. If you drop that and then drop that next one, sorry. You can like expand it again. It's that H one. Or just click on where it says HB. Yeah, just click on that. Then you'll be able to see it much easier. I just want to see what we're asking for. So this is like full user table. So really, there's no reason for it to be calling A5A over and over and over. And this actually might be a builder bug even because like you don't need to pre-cache user. There's no such thing almost as pre-caching the user table. It's kind of really interesting that it's doing this. Although I don't know, maybe like if you actually click on a different one, see if it's a different name. So yeah, there's all these A5s. Click on a different one, and then we'll open that same thing. Open the two. It's the same.
Oh,
same
it's the same
user.
It is the same user.
Yeah, it should not be doing this. I'm not. I mean, if Dorian were on here, he might know more than me. Like, I don't really know.
What,
this
sorry,
whole
can we,
cache.
what's the setup? Can we look at the page structure? Like before we assume that it's a bug, what can we look at in the setup to make sure that they're not running?
Yeah, we would just need to
Is there
find
anything
where
like
you're
that?
making a call to user data. So like that could kind of be anywhere, but maybe you have a clue to know where to look first. But something on this dashboard page that would call user data over and over. So could be that each row in that list is calling user data. Could be something in the header with the profile stuff. I'm really not sure, but maybe you know where to start.
Alex, did you hear?
Yes, well, one of the things that is catching the data from the collection user is where Rubén Básico in the there, just there, and this is catching the data from the collection users, and basically this in the
Let's
dashboard
go-
page.
Yeah,
Basically,
let's
this.
go check it out in the studio. Can you now
Oh.
show us that studio? Yeah.
Where is that, Alex? That is
When you the click event of perfil, yes.
abrir página de perfil.
Yes.
Let's open that. So open page in your container and then.
From this data collection users, get fields. Current.
Okay. This might be what's causing it. I'm not like it kind of shouldn't in a way. Like I see what you're doing, but what you can do is anywhere that you're going to use the users table and filter by current user ID. Instead, there's another thing where you can just use current user info. So in this one, the whole thing is coming from a data collection input type. Like if you scroll up a little bit. Or the other way, sorry. Yeah, I don't scroll down. But like go to the top of this action where it says the input type. So and then yeah, so see it's on the bottom, it's set to data collection and set to users. Right there, instead of setting a data collection and users, if you change that to be current user info, then I bet it would eliminate all those extra calls.
So for our record to open, you see where it says data
Right.
collection? Is that what?
Yes.
In this case, I guess it's a little bit tricky because you're getting an array of all the user fields. Do you know how you're using the result of this thing here? Are you just opening the record? I might be a little confused before I jump to conclusions on what exactly should change. Basically, like what I'm seeing, you almost never need to do a user table filtered by an ID because you can do current user. But I'm not sure exactly how you're using this because this is inside of an open page in a container action. So I think this is just the data you're passing it. And in that case, you don't even need to pass it any data because on every page, all throughout your project, you always have access to current user. You don't need to ever pass it through. So that could be eliminate the calls if we just remove this basically.
Okay, we will use the user current collection. The current user.
Wait, sorry, Drew, were you saying replace this action entirely or just change this argument to come from current user info? Let's just do the right way.
What I'm saying is, like, if you could tell me basically what's like confirm that this is what's going on. Right now, you're opening a page into a container and you're passing it the current user's info. And so what I'm saying is you can just pass it nothing because you never need to pass the current user's info. So if I'm correct that that's what's happening, which I'm just not 100% sure. That's why I don't want to jump to conclusions. Then we can just basically remove this field on this action and try again.
Oh, okay.
We are passing the context of the user to the new page.
Okay. Yeah, so you could, so basically go, if you scroll up a little bit to the top of this where you're setting the context. So CSS record to open, essentially you can just set that to nothing. Yeah, instead of specific record, set it to whatever the top, like if you click that down, whatever the top one is, it's like.
Click into specific record and select the top blank option. Select to pass data.
Yeah, which basically means nothing. So if you do this, when you're whatever page that opens, it'll still have access to the current user by using current user info. Does that make sense? Instead of using.
No, how is it using current user info? Does it already know, or is there additional action they need to set up?
No, everything in Builder always knows current user info. So you never have to pass the context of the current user. It knows that they're signed in, who they are, and it always, when the page originally loads, it caches all the current user data for you. So you just have it.
Well, that's great. Okay, so that's good to know.
So you might need to change something in your config, like on that page, something might read from, the context.id, and you could just read it from current user info ID. Like there'll be a small adjustment, but you just eliminated that call. I'm almost positive. And then there's probably other places doing the same thing where you're passing the user context. We'll remove them all, and you'll just eliminate all of those calls we saw in the network, and that'll speed things up a lot.
Okay. To sum up, we need to reduce the same calls to solve the page load speed.
Yeah.
No.
Yep.
Okay.
And you're doing it well. Like all the pre-caching stuff is what does that. So you have it set up, but there's just a few that are like edge cases that are getting through. And it's basically a matter of looking at each one of those and figuring out why is that happening. And essentially you can always remove the extra calls in Builder. There's always a way. So eventually you'll figure it out and then it'll be faster.
Oh, okay. I understand.
It's so much that I know it's a lot. But I do want to just kind of go back there. So where are most of your users going to be accessing this app? Do you know?
Okay, thank you very much. The last question we have is about PayPal integration. We don't know how to, we need to do with APIs because it's more easy to change the backend or to make subscription, and we don't know how to do that or one approach. I don't know. Alex, do you explain better?
Yeah, we need how to set up the PayPal integration with APIs or other approach that you could give us.
Are you familiar with APIs in Builder in general, or not as much?
We wrote the documentation of PayPal and APIs, but when we try, it's a little bit difficult because it's a lot of steps to integrate with APIs. For example, the first, the token, the second, the order, and the third confirmation, and we don't know how to integrate in Builder these steps.
Okay. That's gonna probably be like pretty challenging. I mean, everything's doable, so you'll be able to do it. And some of the stuff we have built in the studio does that. Like we do that with like Twitter and stuff where it has to do that handshake back and forth thing. We probably won't have time to figure it all out now, but there's two like paths. One of them is using the standard API call, that action. Depending on how PayPal, like what it needs and how it's set up, you can get a lot done with that API call where you make an API call, you get the response, and then you use it in the next one. But sometimes you have to go to you have to go to like serverless functions in Builder, which is a whole nother thing, in order to get something like this done. But yeah, we can look at what you have here.
Yes, we try run a JavaScript function, but we don't know how to solve some problems like the token and the other actions. We get stuck in this process.
Yeah, I mean, what you have here, you can basically send a variable like out of that JavaScript code into the Builder project. So if you get a token back and you need to use it somewhere else, you can create a variable from it. And you can also read variables into JavaScript. So there's ways to get it done with that. The other thing you can do is if you create a custom action, and there's a video on custom actions, but essentially that JavaScript would go into the custom action. Then you have a lot more flexibility with like inputs and outputs, and it's a little more intuitive how it would work with it with the rest of the studio. But I don't know, like if you did this way right here, you're probably exposing your secret, your API key or your secret or something. In which case, like you wouldn't really want to do that for production. You could, like, if you don't care, I guess it's not the end of the world, but really like you wouldn't want to expose those keys, which means you'd have like the correct setup would be a server-side function, like a custom server-side function through Builder.
Okay, so
yeah.
the solution is using server-side function or custom function, or is the same?
It's not exactly the same, but it's kind of both the solution. So custom function would be one solution where you'd be able to write what you have there basically, but you'd have a lot more flexibility than doing it just in that action. And you can, there's a video in our education section called action types, but that like walks you through how to create custom actions. But then the next step on top of custom actions is you can create custom server side actions. So sometimes you need to, and I don't know for PayPal if you'll need to or not, but if you hit a limit with the regular action, that's where you'll have to go to the custom server side action. And it's like, we can help you through it for sure, but it'll be a lot of back and forth. It just gets complicated when you get to that level, but it's doable. And like, we've done it with lots of other services. I don't think I've never seen anyone do it like on the team or anyone that I've seen in the community do PayPal yet. Otherwise, I prefer
yes, we have a problem with Stripe integration here in Peru, and this is the reason that we need to use PayPal.
Yep.
So it's a little bit complicated in Builder because it's a combination of server-side functions, API calls, but I think that it is possible.
It's definitely possible. You'll probably need just like some pointers here and there, because when you get to server-side actions, there's so much and there's not as much documentation, but we can help you through it for sure, and we'll be able to get it done.
Alex, I just chatted the link for the video on how to do JavaScript in custom elements, and we should just show you the area real quick so you can kind of understand what you can do. So if you go back to the main menu and you go into action types, the main nav menu here in the studio, and go into actions. Yeah. Okay, so this is the list of all the actions that you have added to your project. So you'll see them all here. And then you've got the tab for the functions and the libraries. So if you open up an action type, you can see the functions there.
Functions.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, when you click new function, that's how you can create new functions. And here's where, you give it a name and then you indicate if it's server side. Okay, so that's one way to create the server side function. That's where you would do it. The other thing, if you close out of here and you go back to action types, is you can click the 3-dot menu for any of these and duplicate them and then make it your own. So for example, even with the API call action, I don't even know if you could do it with a Stripe call, if that would even give you anything.
They're also different that it's
They
hard to
are?
know, but
Okay.
you already have that JavaScript, so you know, you don't necessarily need to copy one. You might want to for help or just to make it easier. It depends. I would say check out that lesson first, actually, because
Yeah.
that just goes step by step, and it's not long, but it goes step by step through all the parts of creating custom action, and then I think you'll know whether you want to copy it or
Go
create
that
it.
way. Okay.
Yeah.
So at least now you know where it's in the UI. So I think just watching that and then making a decision, is that what they need to do, Drew?
That's what I'd say. And I think you'll see if you feel like you can handle, you'll be able to get further probably. And if you feel like it's not going to work or you still have questions, then just come back and ask us and we'll look deeper into the PayPal docs and we'll be able to tell if you really need a server-side action or not. Sometimes like you think you do, like for Stripe, we thought we did and we almost built that whole thing out and then we were like, oh, we can do it without. So we ended up doing it without them. Sometimes it's just multiple paths to get the API done.
Yes. Thank you very much, Cora and you. This is very helpful for us. Well, to finish, I have a question for you. When you say that I use JavaScript functions, this is public information in the web page, or it's I don't understand this.
Or when I was talking about like this exposing the secrets and API keys.
Yeah, when I use a JavaScript function, anyone can access to this information in the web page.
Yeah, the danger is actually when you send the API call, anything that's in your JavaScript that you're sending is going to be visible because it comes from the browser. So if you have a secret in an API call and it's in JavaScript like this, like how we see it, it's going to be sent with the request. So somebody in theory could intercept your network request. Like if you're in a cafe Wi-Fi, somebody can intercept your network request and see that secret exposed and steal it. And what we do, what Builder does is in the server-side functions and in our API call, if you have it selected to server-side, we use secrets. So there's a whole section called secrets where you would enter your client secret in a secrets, and then we send all of your API requests, all the parameters that make up your API request. We send it to our server along with the secret ID, but not the value of the secret. The value of the secret's always hidden. It's only on our server. API stuff goes to our server with that secret ID. We convert it on our server, and then we send it out from our server. And by doing that, no one can intercept your secret. And actually anything you put inside of a Builder secret, it doesn't have to be an API key. You can put any information in there. And then you run it through an API call to our server. It'll be like hidden. It's just, I mean, it's not hidden. It's like it's completely inaccessible.
It's encoded, right?
Secure.
Or
It's not even encoded. It's just like, there's no access to it. One thing is triggering it, and then our server interprets that. So there's no way to intercept it.
is there a way they would be able to, is the only way they would be able to actually embed that secret by doing a custom action? Or custom
the only way is server side. So this is actually like a crazy like tech problem with all no-code tools that they have to deal with, which is everything in Builder and everything in a no-code tool is in the browser. Like you're not really, you don't interact with a server the same way as when you code. So it makes it, there's this little challenge here. And the way we solved it is we created a mechanism where some things go to our server first and then get sent out securely.
Oh, okay. So when we work with API keys, we need to run a server-side function.
You basically, you don't need to run a server-side function if you use our API action because that's built in. But if you're doing something custom, you'll either need, like there's ways to do it without a full server-side function. Like I don't want to get to make it too complex, but there are ways where you can take advantage of secrets. That's the key. So in the project menu under secrets, that's what really matters. Any API key should be a secret.
Oh, okay.
And then
when
what you do here is on the here in the API call, when
that's
it's
right.
asking you for the API key, you instead select the secret instead of manually putting in your API key.
okay,
And that, yeah. Oh, sorry.
okay. When I use an API call and I choose this server size, so it's secure my secrets or
Right.
no?
Well, you have to also use secrets. So like if you have an see right there, your header value, that bearer. What you actually want that to say is you want to do a concatenate that says bearer space, and then the next input type is secret. So instead of typing that in, you use a secret. If you do that, then yeah, that server side toggle will keep you safe. And if you did a client side toggle and use a secret, your call would actually fail.
Okay. I understand.
Do you know where the secrets are, guys, in the menu item?
Well, we use in the OpenAI chat
Yeah. Perfect.
actions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
same concept. That one is just doing it. Yeah.
and then you just change the argument type, concatenate, and then from secret, and then just select that and it can pop it in.
Yes.
Phantom has a question related to this. How do we access the secrets from the functions?
I don't know the answer off the top of my head, but there's a way, there's like a hook that we have where you can access secret values. Like if you use the API server side function, all you do is include the secret. You never like access the value from there. But if you're doing a custom server side action, sometimes you would potentially want to access a secret. And there's just like, if I had to figure it out, I'd ask Dorian and he would send me its copy paste. I don't know off the top of my head, but we do have a little hook for it. Which if you need it, like, yeah, we can definitely get it. I'll have to ask Dorian, but we can get it.
Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys are making really great progress. So
Yeah, we almost
I think
finished.
you know a lot more than you actually think that you do, because what you've already started there is already down the path. I mean, no one else has done a PayPal integration that I know of.
Really, Builder is a very robust web app. So we choose for create this web app. Well, we almost finished. And we're very happy with the results.
Nice.
Yeah, now it's time to do some cleanup and get it ready for launch.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to go and make sure, can you click on the main menu again and go into project settings? I just want to look at where you guys are hosted and make sure that aligns with what.
Menu.
Yeah, the main menu,
Okay.
the nav menu, and then down to project settings.
Project settings.
It's at the very bottom.
Okay. This.
Mhm. So what Drew had mentioned earlier, right now you get to choose which region your project is hosted and where it's executing from. There's 3 regions, the US, Asia, and Europe. And what we're going to be doing eventually is adding multi-region support. So right now you guys have the US region selected. So if that's closest to where your users are going to be, then that's great. Leave it like that. In the future, for apps that are more global, that really need things to be super fast, no matter where you are, those will have the ability to do multi-region, where it can be hosted in different areas. It's a little bit more costly, but it is definitely on the roadmap for us to offer that. So for anyone who is working out of the country or et cetera, check your project region. That's where your data is being hosted, and you can always change it to somewhere that's closer to you and your users if it needs to be faster.
Oh, okay, thank you very much for that. We hope that our users are from LATAM, something like Chile, Brazil, Peru, and we think USA region it's okay, or we need to choose different.
US is good. Yep.
Yeah, US is good. No, US is good. If you're going to do any like Central Latin America, this is the closest one.
Okay, thank you very much.
Uh-huh. Okay, well, Ruben, Alex, thank you for letting us help you. Come next time and we can make some more progress. Like once you clean up some of those calls, we can see if there's anything residual or just pick another page and kind of keep going on optimizing it.
Thank
Okay,
you.
well, thank you both.
Thank you very much, guys.
We've
Thank you
got
so
about
much.
10 minutes left. And let me see. Spaceman, did you have something you wanted to talk about with your podcast?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still here. Let's
We can
so
check it out for a few
can you hear
minutes.
me?
Yep.
Cool. All right, let me figure out what screen I need to share. I got